Right, good afternoon and welcome to our second history lesson on Florence Nightingale. So last week you would have found out a little bit about Florence Nightingale. You had a very short video to watch, so by now you should know at least who she was and where she was born and when she was born. There's a big clue of who she was on the picture on your screen. Today we're going to look at Florence in a little bit more detail and try and sort some facts from what's changed since before Florence and then after Florence. So let's move on from this slide. So who was Florence Nightingale? Florence Nightingale was born in 1820, so that's just over 200 years ago, so a long time ago, before any of your parents or grandparents were alive. She was named Florence after Florence in Italy, where she was born. So some of you might have been to Florence, but I found a picture of myself. This was me in the city of Florence. This was about 7 years ago, so I look a little bit different. And Florence is a beautiful city, and you can see behind the picture how big it is, but it's a beautiful city in Italy. So she died in 1910, okay? So she died just over 100 years ago. And however, although she died a long time ago, she is still very famous today. Okay, so she became a nurse and helped soldiers who were hurt in the war. Let's move on. She is known as the Lady of the Lamp because she carried a lamp with her when she checked on her patients at night. So next week we're hoping that we might set you a little challenge to have a go at making your own lamps, your own paper lanterns. She changed the way, so Florence is remembered for several different reasons. The first reason is because she changed the way that hospitals looked after their patients. She also changed the way that people thought about nurses. And then she changed the way that people thought about women. And we're going to look at these in a little bit more detail now. So she changed the way hospitals looked after their patients. So before Florence Nightingale, hospitals were overcrowded and there were not enough beds. Hospitals were dirty and they had rats, and there were not enough doctors to help all the patients. So going into hospital was not always the safest place to go. And at the moment, if you fall ill now or you have an accident, hospitals are the best place to be in. Florence Nightingale, she made hospitals cleaner. She gave patients good food, and she saved many lives by doing this. She changed the way they looked after their patients. So Florence Nightingale showed that trained nurses and clean hospitals could help sick people to get better. So before Florence Nightingale, some of the nurses were not trained, so they didn't really know how to look after the patients. Because of this, she is called the founder of modern nursing. So lots of nurses today will still learn about her. So she changed the way that people thought about nurses. In the past, most people thought that only male doctors could look after patients and that nurses should only do the tidying and cleaning up. Today, we know that's not true, and nurses do lots of amazing things. In the past, nurses were not trained. Florence Nightingale met Queen Victoria and told her what was wrong with army hospitals. So she wanted nurses to become more important because she knew how vital they were to save lives. She opened a nursing school called the Nightingale Training School for Nurses. Florence Nightingale also wrote a book called Notes for Nursing. So at her training school, she trained thousands and thousands of nurses. In the past, most rich women like Florence, so this is how she changed the way people thought about women. So in the past, most rich women like Florence got married and looked after their homes instead of going to work. So most women would just be at home, they wouldn't go out to work. Florence decided, though, that she wanted to work. She showed that women could choose to work and do things outside the home, okay? So some women would still stay at home, and that is absolutely fine, but she said that actually women could go to work as well. In 1907, so this is just before she died, Florence Nightingale was awarded the Order of the Merit by Queen Victoria. She was the first woman to receive this honour. So up until this point, only males or men have received this honour. In the past, people thought that women could not do the same jobs as men. Do you think this is fair? Do you think people still feel like this today? So if you've got a grown-up sat next to you, you could discuss these two questions with them now. Do you think this is fair if women could not do the same jobs as men? Or do you think actually women can do all the same jobs as men? And do you think people still think like this today? You can pause it if you need to more time to discuss. Oh, sorry, I've gone too far. So your job today then is you have a Word document with these on, or you can just pause the video here. I would like you to have a go at sorting out these statements, and you need to either put them into before Florence Nightingale or after Florence Nightingale's. So which one do you think goes in which box? You could either print them out and cut them and put them into two piles, or you could write them down in your green books correctly before Florence Nightingale and after Florence Nightingale. So for example, we've got this one. There were rats in the hospital. Were there rats in the hospitals before Florence Nightingale, or were there rats in the hospital after Florence Nightingale? So that is your task for the rest of the afternoon, okay? If you pause it now to get on with this, and then I will click one last time so you can check your answers when you have finished. Hopefully that you have managed to put those into the right boxes. If you didn't, and even if you could just discuss them with your parents or your grown-up at home, that would be great. Well done.